Whatever. Hold up. All right. Welcome to another video. On this video, I'm gonna talk about another Muslim leader named Clarence 13X. What really happened to Clarence 13X? What really happened to the founder of the 5% Nation? What really happened to Clarence Edward Smith? Okay, he was the founder of the Muslim sect that we know as the 5% Nation. He was born in Virginia and moved to New York City, and later later joined the U.S. Army and was involved in the Korean War. He later returned to New York, and like he only converted to being a Muslim when the woman that he was staying with at the time was a convert. Okay, he joined the Nation of Islam and took up the name Clarence 13X. Okay, like while he was with the Nation of Islam, he served as a security officer, a martial arts instructor, and a minister before leaving in '63. But hold up, the reason why he left in '63 is because during that time there was a rift between Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X. Uh, because I think he left prior to Malcolm finally leaving. Because like Malcolm left the Nation of Islam in 1964, if I'm not mistaken. He left in 1963. Clarence 13X left the NOI in 1963. I mean, before that, because he due to the fact that he loved to drink alcohol, he loved to smoke weed, and he loved to gamble. Three things that were strictly forbidden in the Nation of Islam. Like and like and that goes for any religious sect. Like if you like to do something, if like we all are born into sin, and like if you have certain vices that you love to hold on to, and like you don't like, and like you're part of some type of religion, whether it be Christian, Buddhist, or Muslim, and like if you have certain vices that forbid you to practice those type of things, you'll either do two things. You'll either quit that religion altogether, or you'll bounce and go do your own thing. And in Clarence case, that's what he did. He left and did his own thing. He created the 5% Nation, and like another reason why he left the NOI, because he didn't believe that Wallace Fard Muhammad was, was a divine messenger. Like I said in my last video, Wallace Fard Muhammad, who was the so-called founder of the Nation of Islam, who was a white identified Persian man who taught black oriented philosophy. Like Clarence didn't like he didn't agree with he didn't agree with this white man leading all these black people into Mecca, or into freedom, or to the unraveling of the chains of mental slavery. Like he wasn't down with believing in Wallace Fard Muhammad. Okay, okay. The reason he said, like after leaving the NOY, he formed a new group with other former members. He came to the conclusion that black men were divine and took the name Allah to symbolize the status. He rejected the belief of an invisible God, and like he stated that all black men were gods, and that all black women were the earth. You know, the term 5% Nation comes from the philosophy that only 5% of the human population uh, will be down with the teaching and the philosophy, according to Muslims, the 5% of the human population uh, is in agreement. 85% of the 85% of the world population is deaf, dumb, and blind, and 10% of the population is in between or just neutral. But Clarence 13X instilled this belief that all black men were gods and that no invisible God existed. Okay, that he and a few assistants retained some NOI teachings and pioneered novel interpretations of them. They devised teachings about the meanings of letters and numerals. Understanding the meaning of each letter and number was said to provide deep truths about God and the universe. Okay, Clarence referred to his new movement as the Five Percenters, and like he rejected the strict dress codes that the Nation of Islam had, and he rejected the partaking of vices, the forbidden let me rephrase that. He rejected the strict guidelines because he loved to smoke weed, drink alcohol, and he loved to gamble. I think gambling, which eventually ended up to his demise. Okay, like he was first shot in 1964 by an unknown assailant. Like during the 60s, when when black leaders were being shot down left and right. Like if the culprit was a black person, 9 times out of 10 they wouldn't be prosecuted. No, i.e., Malcolm X. Malcolm X was assassinated in 1965, and his assailants were never revealed, or they never received any jail time. So that shows you how much they wanted to get rid of him. Okay, see, he like for some reason, like of course, after he was killed, he was shot the first time. He was put in he was put in a mental hospital, and he was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia because he referred to himself as Allah, and not Clarence 13X, or just his birth name. Okay, like he although he taught his followers to hate white people, he eventually began to cooperate with white city leaders. They gave him funding for a night school, and in return, he tried to prevent violence in Harlem. You see, like he was unfortunately he was shot. He was murdered in 1969 of June when he went over to his lady friend's house, and he was shot. He was ambushed and shot while in the balcony of Doris Smith's apartment. Okay, the mayor of New York City and several other leaders expressed condolences to his followers. Although the Five Percenters faltered in immediate aftermath of his death, the movement rebounded after new leadership emerged. The group took a non-hierarchical approach to leadership, and no single leader replaced Clarence 13X. He has been held in high regard by Five Percenters who celebrate his birthday as a holiday. Okay, like and like to this day, his attackers, his murderers, have never been caught, and they've never been identified. Which goes to show you the shroud, the cloak that they put over the black community and the black the black monolith as a whole. When stuff like this happens, when one of our leaders get killed, and they just keep them hidden under wraps, and they choose to put them in that cloud of anonymity, and like it's unfortunate that that some of our greatest leaders never lived past 40, and died when they were still so young. Shit, I'm almost 40 years old, but damn, like these men who were shot and who were killed, these men of our communities who were murdered, and, and could have led the black community to heights that we probably never seen. Like, could you imagine if Dr. King was still living, if he lived past April 4th, 1968? Could you imagine what type of where black people would be to this day? Could you imagine where we would be if Malcolm X lived past February 25th, 1965? This goes to show you the power that black leaders have or had during that time, and it's very unfortunate that Clarence 13X was added to that number. Hell, some and like the 5% Nation influenced a lot of people. Like, matter of fact, a lot of those East Coast rappers are down with the 5%ers. Like, I think I might do a video about virtually every rapper whether it's in the past, he's in the past or present, who are part of the 5% nation, and like their allegiance. It's so many to name, like Wu-Tang Clan, Lord Jamar, Busta Rhymes, I think Rakim. There's so many of them. But like that's all I got to say about this video. Like what really happened to Clarence 13X, and who really murdered him?